In today's video, we're bringing you the funniest, wildest, and most magical Elf on the Shelf moments ever. You'll be amazed at what these little guys get up to. So like and subscribe and let's jump right into the fun. This is definitely not your traditional Elf on the Shelf caught moving on camera clip, but it's a fun one nonetheless. The elf jumps off the hearth to attack its owner, and after this intense fight, the elf emerges as the winner, leaving its owner lying unconscious on the ground. Luckily, the rest of the family return home in time to help the guy.
Oh, I don't think so. Not today. Oh, what? Where did he go? Oh.
Honey, it's Daddy. Oh no. At least the elf's okay.
In this clip, an elf on the shelf was caught on camera moving, but where the other elves on the shelf clips usually have elves moving around with no destination in mind, this elf on the shelf has a purpose, and that's to find its fluffy friend. So let's check it out. In this clip, YouTube Meeble Spirella managed to catch their elves on the shelf sneaking various candies and sweets. If you believe you've seen it all, this clip might convince you that you haven't seen anything when it comes to elves on the shelf caught on camera. This clip shows an elf on the shelf wearing a piece of clothing you'll never believe is possible for an elf to wear, so watch carefully.
Now we have a clip of an elf moving around an Ugg shoe before making a leap and landing right into the shoe. This elf is talented. In this brief clip, we can see an elf on the shelf sitting on the Christmas tree before the elf falls down. Perhaps it wanted to move, but it noticed the secret camera recording it, so the elf made sure to quickly get out of frame so he can move without being recorded. It's time for some vitamins, and this elf on the shelf knows the right vitamin to pick from. In this clip, the elf on the shelf is trying its best to move the oranges on the table, and after much struggle, it gave up and decided to nap by resting on one of the oranges instead. A makeshift pillow out of an orange is something we never thought was possible, but this elf proved us wrong. For this clip, we have a super energetic elf who starts moving right in front of the camera. The elf looks straight at the camera and does a little dance of joy before starting to walk back and forth. At the end of the clip, it seems that the elf has left the camera, but its legs return to the frame before finally taking off.
In this clip, the elf was caught moving its eyes, and it's very rare to see an elf on a shelf moving its eyes, so it's a super special case. The person who took this video hung a candy stick on the elf's little hand. Then they must have looked away or something because elves don't move at all if someone's looking at them. At that point, you can see the elf moving its eyes, and it's just absolutely nuts, so let's take a look.
An elf on the shelf was caught on camera, actually teasing the viewers. The elf in this clip is seen playing hide and seek with the camera. How cute. In this clip, the elf on the shelf was caught moving towards the sleeping dog, and at first it seems like the elf was just having fun and dancing around the dog, but then the elf turns to its furry friend with a treat.
This clip features these elves on the shelf sitting harmlessly on the floor, but it's probably one of the creepiest clips of elves on the shelf we've ever seen. It just looked like two elves rocking back and forth, which is already creepy enough, ended on a surprising note, so let's check it out. We think one of the things elves don't account for is getting caught on camera while moving, even though they're supposed to not have the ability to move at all. However, as soon as this particular elf noticed the camera, it went into its hiding mode immediately, just to avoid getting captured.
So basically, this mom was having some suspicions about her elf because it would be placed at one spot and the next morning it would be found at another place around the home. If you want to catch your own elf, make sure to listen closely on what I'm about to say because this mom shows the best tricks and tips for catching an elf. At first, she shows us that the elf is sitting silently on the Christmas tree and then proceeds to show us what seems to be the elf's door at the North Pole, which teleports it back to Santa Claus. That's the spot where you have to put your camera at because the elf will probably be trying to go back to Santa. So the next morning, she sets up 2 cameras in the living room and the kitchen, and as expected, the elf goes down the tree, and you guessed it, to the little door. In this short clip, the hidden security camera captured the elf on the shelf slowly moving its eyes. The elf perhaps noticed the camera and knew that it was trying to record it moving, and that's why it only moved its eyes.
This elf noticed that his owners were trying to capture him moving on camera, but instead of sitting still and not moving at all, he decided to wave at the camera, gifting us this wonderful clip. So 2 weeks before Christmas, this dad caught their elf on the shelf just flying in the middle of the video, and he was recording. Actually, this dad and his family have a verified Elf on the Shelf YouTube channel that they captured their elf moving a few times, so it must be a real video, and what you're seeing has happened for real. It's about to get even crazier, so make sure to keep on watching until the end.
As this guy records an introduction for his YouTube video, you can see his elf sitting behind him on a closet start to move its arm and wave at the camera. What a spectacular sighting. Now they introduce to their son, the elf, and they make great friends.
Touch him. I'm not supposed to touch him.
If you're interested in learning how to catch your elf pulling pranks on you outside your door, you should watch this clip. So here's what happened. An elf was captured on camera ringing the doorbell of one of the family's homes, which was lucky because they had a security camera in place at the front door. As a result, his little naughty act was exposed and he got captured on camera doing the usual mischievous behavior that elves like to do.
These hungry elves are going straight to the kitchen cupboard to get some snacks. Honestly, you'll have to give them credit just for finding where all the good stuff is stored, so you can't even blame them for stealing the food. In this clip, the elves are caught by security cameras taking some sweets, so let's check it out. Elves coming alive and starting to move is already scary knowledge, but also knowing that it doesn't only come alive, but can sometimes help with the house chores without you knowing can be even scarier. In this clip, an elf on the shelf is seen flying into the laundry room before flying into the washing machine and then bringing out a sock. What a helper. In this clip, we have a really smart elf who noticed that a security camera was recording him at night, so he decided to just pick it up and do a little elf vlog, recording himself walking around the house. This recording was a perfect gift for the family, and the elf must have put in so much effort into it because just think about it, a camera is super heavy for the little elf, so carrying it around the house should have been really difficult.
Oh my goodness, what is that tree doing? What is he doing?
What's he gonna do, girls?
Hmm?
Oh no. Oh.
He's going on the couch. He's going. Oh my.
Prepare yourself because this elf on the shelf is about to, well, poop. I'm not kidding, and that's not even the craziest part, because this guy decided to prank their elf on the shelf by leaving some chocolate-covered raisins in a jar to kind of trick the elf into eating it, but the most insane thing ends up happening, so make sure to stick around to see for yourself. While some elves on the shelf don't mind getting caught on cameras, and some even wave at the camera once they spot it, there are also some elves who just don't like getting caught on camera moving, and will do everything to avoid it. A great example is this elf, who after trying its best not to get caught flying, eventually got caught.
In this clip, we have a rare type of elf on the shelf, and at very first it was laying dormant until suddenly it started moving, leaving the frame before returning and making its way towards the camera. The elf gives it a good look before noticing that it's recording, and because the elves are super instructed by Senna not to get caught moving, the elf quickly disappears from sight. We don't know for sure what the elf on the shelf here is doing in this clip, but its movement caught on camera suggests that perhaps there's another elf on the shelf nearby who's about to join his buddy in front of the camera, so let's check it out. For this clip, we have two elves that were arriving at their owner's house. The elves used a zip line to come to the front of the door, and this entire clip looks like it's taken right from Mission Impossible movies. When the elves got to the front door, they hid from the camera and possibly entered the house through an open window. This elf was captured taking care of a sweet tooth with his fellow elves and making them cookies. This is a very nice gesture, and it shows how caring and considerate these magical beings are. Would you like to taste a cookie made by an elf? Peeking right at the camera, the elves even start headbutting the camera, and then they heard someone coming to open the doors and made their escape. This clip shows an elf on the shelf that was captured jumping up and down and moving from one place to another. It probably had a restless night, but it eventually got tired and found a place to rest. The owner of the clip wants us to share the video before the government sees it and decides to ban it because officially elves on the shelf are just toys and can't come alive. Anyways, it's just another elf on the shelf moving while the family is sleeping, and we can agree that while this is nothing new, a moving elf is always amazing to watch. So let's see how this one goes. This guy wanted to cut his elf on the shelf open to see what was inside of it, and you should never hurt your elves on a shelf like that because they're live creatures, and as you will see, the elf just disappeared from the table and just reappeared on the ceiling, meanwhile shutting off the lights. This is one of the creepiest elf on the shelf sightings ever.
What the heck? Yo, I don't know how he's able to do this, and I don't know why his eyes are glowing red, but I don't like this. Yo, what the? Cause he just disappeared. What the heck? His eyes are there now. Where did he go? Elf, where are you?
These two mischievous elves were spotted having some fun with the camera. They were undoubtedly drawn to the shining item that seemed to be staring right at them. The second elf was initially camera shy, and the other occasionally strikes a pose. Elves are really something else. The other elf is in the back beginning to move as well. It's just unbelievable. You can't just tell me that these aren't real. While this is one of the shortest clips on the list, the surprise it packs will give you thrills. Not only did we get to see an elf that decorates, but we also got an elf on the shelf that would go into hiding immediately rather than admire its own work. Because they heard noises coming from the cereal box the night before, the family set out to find what this elf was up to and trap him before he can get away. In order to catch the elf, they set up a camera the next day. Because of this, the hunch turned out to be right. He was hanging out and eating some sugar cookie cereal. In any case, let's check out the video and see what happened at the end. The elf on the shelf in this next clip will rather choose to play hide and seek in the kitchen than stay put in one position, so let's check it out. In December 2013, an office was explored by an elf on the shelf and it was caught wandering around with 4 surveillance cameras. The team was able to observe every inch of the movement of the elf, which roamed all around the office, checking out the Christmas lights and other decorations. Finally, camera 4 captured the elf moving into another room and coming back holding a piece of paper, which is a scan of itself. The elf probably thought that's how humans take selfies. This guy captured a strange clip of his elf on the shelf teleporting around his house. You can see the elf flying through the air into the frame before landing on the ground, but when its owner points its camera at it, the elf disappears and no one knows where it went next. It's one of the spookiest elf on the shelf clips moving so far, so let's check it out.
Yo, where did it go? It was right here, Mr. Elf.
For this clip, we have an elf who decided to surprise its sleeping owner by descending from the ceiling and hopping onto her head, which was enough to wake up the girl. Surprisingly, she gets scared and starts shouting. Perhaps she didn't see that it was an elf, and that's why she got so scared.
Somebody, please!
Now we have a short clip of an elf sitting on a mantelpiece. The elf suddenly starts moving and hides behind a sign. Let's take a look at this marvelous clip once more, and this time in slow motion so we can better see the elf moving. This clip shows footage from a hidden camera which captured an elf on the shelf flying. You can see one elf standing on top of what seemed to be a table and leaning on a glass candle holder, but after a while the elf suddenly sets off for a quick flight and finally comes towards the camera to stare at it. The elf probably noticed that it had recorded everything, and now it wants to turn it off and delete the footage. Now we have a really rare clip of a red-headed elf on the shelf moving. It's rare to see red-headed elves, let alone them moving. In this clip, the elf appears on camera and it looks like it's carrying something in its tiny hands, but then the elf disappears from sight and returns empty-handed. The elf slowly becomes more comfortable being on camera and inspects it closely before starting to use its magic to float around. This elf is caught on tape for being so mischievous at night. She's wary of being caught at first, only to be caught later as she was captured on camera by flying midair. This happened twice, so keep an eye out for it. This clip was captured by a man who set up a camera to catch his elf on the shelf floating around his bedroom before it started moving towards his pillows and acting as if it had gone to sleep, and finally moving down the bedside to hide on the floor. For this short clip, we have an elf that started moving at night. It peeks its head from behind the couch, but soon after, the family dog notices the elf moving and starts chasing after it. The elf even hides behind the couch, so let's just hope that the dog wants to play with the elf instead of tearing it apart. This clip shows two elves, one wearing red and another wearing pink, sitting on their toy horses, as if they're preparing for a race. However, the elf who is wearing red clothes just starts riding towards the camera. We can only wonder whether the elves wanted to race and got scared of being recorded, or they didn't even plan to race in the first place and just wanted to ride around on their little horses.
He's riding his reindeer.
What is he doing, girls?
What is he doing?
Oh, he's gone.
Got some tears because that's so funny. Only bubblegum.
Wait, he's coming back. What in the world?
A mysterious elf chose midnight to fly around the dining room and got caught on camera in the process. While at first, it seemed the elf didn't notice the camera, the way it flew into hiding all of a sudden made us suspicious. So let's check it out. We have a clip of this kid capturing his elf on the shelf enjoying some Tic Tacs. When the boy points the camera at the elf, it doesn't move, but when the kid turns around and it returns to the elf, you can see that the arms have moved and it starts eating Tic Tacs. It's one of the many clips where elves are too shy to move on camera, but as soon as you leave their presence, they start moving.
I have to go and see what it was.
If you thought your cookies were safe in a cookie jar, then you might want to rethink your belief after watching this clip. So basically, a kid woke up to see their elf on the shelf sitting next to several cookies that has to be taken out of the cookie jar in the kitchen. The elf had even eaten some, as the crumbs indicate. Luckily, the elf left some for the kids to share. For the elf on the shelf in this clip, nighttime means playtime. In this clip, an elf on the shelf can be seen moving and trying to wake up its sleeping friends. After a long time of disturbance, it eventually falls on its friends and joins the sleeping camp. Elves also need rest. The elf of this family was constantly teleporting all around their house, so in this clip they decided to trap it inside glass, but as soon as they did, the elf used its magical powers once again and teleported to freedom. The elf appears next to them on the couch, and it's one of the greatest displays of elf magic ever captured on camera.
Wait.
It has to be though. What? It's not in there, dude?
In this clip, we can see an elf happily walking and dancing in the living room. At one point, the elf takes off for a brief flight, but then returns to the ground soon after. Most elves can fly, but it requires a lot of energy, and that's why elves avoid flying all over the place, even if it's really fun. The elf hops around the living room for a while before its owner comes into the room, making the elf go limp. This clip shows two elves bringing a magical gift to their owner. This owner pops up this little treasure chest and discovers golden glitter inside, but after digging through it, she finds a magical key. We don't know what this key can unlock yet. Maybe it's a key to the magical doors leading to the North Pole. If that's the case, this present is a spectacular one, and the owner of one of these elves should be very happy to receive it.
Magic? Okay, let's dig and see if we can find a toy. It's supposed to be a shiny new toy. Don't see anything quite yet. So much glitter. Do you see all that? It's like magic. Oh, I feel something. Oh, look. Do you see that? Okay, I think I found it. Oh, wow. It looks like it's a key. Do you see that? It says okay on it.
A kid and her mom caught their elf on the shelf moving on camera by a lucky accident. But in this clip, the elf was seen climbing down from the top of the wall to first rest under the pillows and then suddenly reappear to start moving towards the camera. The elf even seems to be smiling at the end, so let's check it out.
According to the rule of elves on the shelf, kids are not allowed to touch them. This rule must have been implemented for the safety of these living elves. Maybe these elves actually go extinct, so it's never a good idea to touch them. This clip was filmed with someone actively present, so we can see the person recording is playing with the elf's hat. This is a really bad idea, but in the end, the person got what he wanted because the elf eventually reacted and blinked.
If there's one thing elves are good at, it's turning a situation around in their favor. When an elf on the shelf was caught moving on camera, it decided to turn the situation around and tease the camera instead.
Now we have a clip recorded by a YouTuber who wanted to capture his elf on the shelf moving. As you can see, the elf on the shelf is sitting right in front of the camera, so you might think that the elf isn't going to move because elves usually don't move when they know that they're being recorded. But the elf eventually starts moving and even leaps straight into the camera. Let's check it out.
Unlike any other, like
I'm
compared to
scared to try.
So imagine if they lived like 10, 20 years, or like a lot of marine life lives a lot longer. Imagine they lived like 90 years like turtles. They would have taken over long ago, dude. Would have been over.
Is this a fact?
No. But, you know, they, in the span.
Wait, dude, look.
I saw that.
Bro, it moved.
This elf noticed that his owners were trying to capture him moving on camera, but instead of sitting still and not moving at all, he decided to wave at the camera, gifting us this wonderful clip. These two guys purchased some cursed Elf on the Shelf cereal, which made their Elf on the Shelf move at 3 a.m. You can see it appears briefly in the background, which made the guys go downstairs and investigate. The elf is continuously peeking around the corner as if baiting the guys to come closer. The elf ends up going to the restroom, and who knows why the elf acted in the way he did. But it's surely a great Elf on the Shelf caught moving on camera clip.
Go, catch it. Wait, where is it? Whoa. What are you?
Guys, you're too slow. Come on.
Is it taunting us? Dude, it wants us to follow. Let's go. Hurry. Wait, hello? Where'd it go? Elf? It could have went anywhere. Here, maybe? Hello? Where'd you go? There he is.
In this classic Elf on the Shelf clip, we can see the elf slowly start moving around, but before it looks around to make sure no one can see it, it takes off. Clips like this show that the Elf on the Shelf can definitely come to life and move on their own, but only if no one's watching them.